I serve as Associate Vice Chancellor for Workforce Education and Corporate Partnerships here at Lone Star College. I have 5 key areas, but my real purpose of being here is to connect the major employers in the greater Houston area to our students. And we do that in a variety of ways, but it's to develop those relationships with those in healthcare, construction, oil and gas, upstream, midstream, and downstream, manufacturing, and IT. I suppose it's in my DNA, and as a kid, I was a pretty creative kid, and although I am very practical and you have to follow through, there's this creativity side to all of our jobs that I want to be sure, not just our students, I work a lot with the college leadership and the faculty, that we are being creative and innovative in not necessarily how we teach our kids, that's not my job, but what we teach them, what careers we're preparing our students for, and the different ways that we interact with our employers in our community. I've traveled to about 7 or 8 different countries on behalf of the college, and what scares me is other countries are improving their own educational systems, and sometimes they're less expensive in manufacturing and that sort of thing in other countries. So I want to have my role in making sure that Lone Star College is innovative and creative, and so that we keep the jobs here. First of all, I try to make sure that the people that report to me feel comfortable coming with great ideas. I think I have all the great ideas. I know I don't, and I know I don't know how to do everything perfectly myself. But more importantly, I also make sure that my group gets to bring our great ideas up to our top level leadership. We work in education, and most of our leaders worked in education. Most of our leaders aren't like President Ardalan at this campus, who was the CIO before he got into educational leadership. They've had pretty traditional schooling, and they've always been in an educational environment. But our students are getting ready to go out into the world, and they're getting prepared for careers probably 90% of the time outside of education. Some of them hopefully will come back and be professors and teachers themselves. So in trying to bring creative new ideas for our leadership to consider, I think is really a vital role of not just mine personally, but my entire team, and how to look at all of what Lone Star College does differently. Probably finding the best way to push up in an organizational structure without being disrespectful to those leaders that you're pushing up ideas to is one challenge. And to try with finesse to introduce our leadership to different things they had not thought of before. For instance, 5 years ago while in Vietnam, I came up with this idea of approaching advisory councils in a different way. And 5 years later, every quarter, we have a group of 40 or so employers that come to the table and meet with our presidents and chancellor. We never want our chancellor or presidents to feel like we don't think they know how to meet with an employer, but we hold that meeting pretty tight, and we hold that relationship pretty tight, because we have some value of how to be consider the innovative ideas that the employers are bringing to us. And we want them to be open-minded, our leadership to be open-minded and to listen. And we have to do that in a really delicate way. And then also, after we bring these employers to these advisory councils, how do we disseminate that information to help our faculty go, hadn't thought about that program, hadn't thought about, we could customize that for an incumbent worker, we could start a new associate degree, we could add a new course, we could just add something to a course. And we have to bring that information in a way that is not challenging them or saying you're not doing something right, but in a way that gets them inspired and excited to go, oh, that's really interesting and exciting, and I want to be a part of that. That's the biggest challenge. The other challenge is how to get the employers to believe that we want to know from them, that we really want to hear from them, and that what they say is important to us, and that we are trying to understand what they need and what they're doing and what their goals and vision are, and that we're really listening. So that's the other challenge for innovation, is making sure people that you're getting the information from trust you, and the people that you're trying to bring creative new ideas to trust you, and that they know that you have both of their interests at heart. Yeah, time. All the technology, all the internet and the Apple phones and the Apple watches and the Twitters and all that. The relationship between people is key. And it takes time to develop a relationship between two groups of people. And that is something that I think I knew, but it's really, our whole team now knows, and we all spend an inordinate, a lot of time in traveling to meet with someone in person, or to pick up the phone and call them rather than send an email, or to get people's input on documents and processes and new ideas and projects. It takes time to do all that, but it seems to be working for us, and it's worth the time. And then you make some great friends too. And so you're making new friends out of something that might just be a business process, or we could have done by email, or never met the person ever in person. We've made some really great friends. We worked with employers, around 400 of them, for 2 years to help the upstream oil and gas employers design a land and offshore drilling certification. Through that process, we had the opportunity to really get to know the employers, where their pain was, how they're needing to train differently, the safety culture, they were trying to explore all that. And we had to figure out a new and unique way to teach that. Because you can't take a 25-year-old young man and put him on an oil rig and let them practice. It's too dangerous and it's too expensive. So we've created a real nice, creative, innovative instructional path that a student, before they leave here, will have about 20% lecture to learn the theory. And of that 20% lecture, about half of that is online, so it's not really lecture from a traditional sense. And about 80% hands-on in the classroom. So we have designed many more labs, and we're designing another about 600,000 square feet of lab space. And then we're bringing in visual simulation, because we can't demonstrate in a lab what it's like deep sea offshore on a drilling ship or a drilling rig, nor can we simulate ice and snow and wind and rain and waves. So visual simulation. And then the icing on the cake is we will get them on a working rig. It's not going to be in the middle of the Arctic Ocean or Norway or off the coast of Brazil, but at least we're getting them on a working rig, so then they get the whole systems approach and they understand how the electrical, mechanical, drilling, hydraulics, how all that works together, and they get to practice and troubleshoot and see what it's really like with the whole drilling system in place. So it's very unique. We're the only college in the country that is accredited for this certification, and we actually had a conference here a month ago and we had 33 community college representatives from around the country and business people to learn how to do that. So we're pretty excited about it.